During one of my frequent hikes in the park, I remember stumbling across a beautiful small pink flower that I've never seen before. I remember picking up and inspecting it, wondering if I had actually discovered a new species. Or even if I hadn't, would it have been tested for its medicinal value? Would it hold a promising cure for an ailment? The wonders of nature always astonish me, especially for the elusive ones that remain undiscovered. Growing up, I was exposed to various environments, quite literally and figuratively. You see, I lived between China and Canada, alternating school years in each country due to my parents' hectic schedules. And it was in both of these places that I was able to appreciate the vast amount of botanicals in that area. I spent a lot of time in the provincial parks we have in the British Columbia and the Taishan we have in China. And they were rich in plant life, and it was a delight to explore them with my family when I was young. Indeed, that's how I started my passion for hiking. I got to observe the plant and tree species that I found fascinating for their abundance and varieties, especially for the plants that were used as traditional medicine for so many centuries. And as I hiked, these were the things that I reflected on. I wondered how many more species are yet to be uncovered for their therapeutic benefits, or how some of them could be included or adapted for modern medicinal treatments. This interest, of course, was not born out of fresh air alone. You see, my father was a dermatologist, and he used herbal remedies to treat patients with conditions such as eczema and cirrhosis. And under his influence, I've come to appreciate the vast amount of active ingredients found within one single species, much less the thousands we have at our disposal. The same appreciation led me to pursue a doctorate that explores therapeutic benefits of sunflower to treat eczema and possibly COVID-19. And as I share this story of mine, I hope that it will bring you a realization about how important it is to preserve biodiversity if we are to preserve our health and well-being as well. Today's modern medicine is still vastly dependent on plant extracts. Botanicals plays a huge role in how we treat ailments, like hypertension, cough, even cancer. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 11% of all basic and essential medications we consume were exclusively originated from foreign plants. And this doesn't even take into account the alternative or natural treatments, such as naturopathy, nor traditional Chinese medicine. And it is also worth noting that in 80% of developing countries, where pharmaceutical companies haven't made a huge foothold yet, it is still the traditional plant medicine that constitute for their primary care. In fact, approximately half of the approved drugs during the last 3 decades were directly or indirectly linked to species abundance. For example, your cough syrup alone is derived from 10 different plants, including wild cherries and peppermints. Plant-based medicine plays a huge role in our healthcare, and there are huge opportunities for drug discoveries based on natural products. And why natural products, you may ask? Well, natural products have many beneficial aspects. Perhaps the most pronounced one is that they are readily recognized by your body compared to synthetic chemicals. That is why when producing synthetic chemicals, most of the core structures are actually based upon natural products. And so despite modern science and technology, and the sheer number of years and the amount of money poured into research and development, it is still the botanicals that constitute the foundation of our health and well-being. Forests have an almost infinity resource of phytochemicals for drug discovery. However, less than 1% of those plant species are actually investigated for its medicinal use. A recent study found that 571 plants have become extinct, which is more than twice the number of birds, mammals, and amphibians combined. It was also found that plant extinction is occurring at a much faster rate, up to 500 times faster than natural rates of extinction. it is undeniable that climate change is threatening nature. It is threatening our biodiversity. It is threatening up to 21% of plant species. And if such a clear dependency between biodiversity and well-being exists, why then are threats such as climate change not taken more seriously? Well, if we take Vancouver Island as an example, it contains many species, including the 3,000 species that are endemic to British Columbia. Unfortunately, 4/5 of the original old-growth forest has been logged, and more than 20% of plants are likely threatened to this kind of deforestation. And if this wasn't enough of a threat, there's also the danger of forest fires to contend with. Forest fires caused by heat waves and rising temperatures. And just last week, I got to experience the firsthand in the Okanagan, when temperature reached to a record high of 45 degrees Celsius. And we found ourselves too close to a forest fire. We could see and smell the forest fire from where we were hiking, and we were forced to evacuate. It was too close. So whether it is logging, deforestation, or forest fires, species are being lost at an unprecedented rate. And for most of us in the cities, we may not see it happening in our backyard. But that is not to say we cannot simply ignore it. With life-saving medicines such as aspirin and morphine being sourced and discovered from plants, we cannot allow for the continuous degradation of nature. It will prove very costly to our health and the future of humankind. And this is the call to action that we need. A plant's biodiversity is a core determinant for translating natural products into a licensed medicine. Medicinal species, often accompanied by higher biodiversity, attracts more research interests than rare species. And with climate change, species are destroyed by deforestation. And rare species become rare, hindering any research interest and drug discovery. Of course, there is the counter-argument that we can always substitute with synthetic chemicals. But even in that case, most synthetic chemicals are actually made based on their natural counterparts. So any way you look at it, there's clearly a need for combating climate change to drive medicinal development, which, within the scope of my research, points to one significant substance, alkaloids. Now, alkaloids are a class of natural products with a nitrogenous base. They are also known for their therapeutic importance, which has a large role in the early stages of drug discovery. They have diversified physiological properties, which are truly beneficial for modern healthcare. Particularly, they possess anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, and cardioprotective properties. Morphine and ephedrine are one of the few notable alkaloids. Morphine is used to treat severe pain, and ephedrine is used to treat hypertension and breathing problems. They not only provide relief, but contribute greatly to patient lives everywhere. Alkaloids also produce secondary metabolites. They are the substances that make them competitive in their own environment, regulating their growth and offer protection to their own environment. So although external threats such as human activity can still leave plants vulnerable, we can use this information to genetically modify species to accelerate their regeneration and potentially speed up reforestation of forests to counteract climate change. It is clear that plants have a tremendous effect on our health and well-being. From traditional to modern medicine, botanicals have a large role in how we prevent disease and essentially treat them. They are the unsung heroes of modern medicine. For hundreds of years, their healing properties have been called upon to treat the injured and the sick. We must preserve their biodiversity, both for their and consequently our survival. And so similar to the consciousness we have for the paper it comes from and the trees it comes from, let us have the same awareness for the medicine we consume. And from now on, every time you need to take your medicine, whether it's a capsule, a tablet, or a spoon of liquid. I want you to reflect on the fact that it was plants that contributed to the production of that drug. Hopefully, through this increased awareness and encouraging actions, we can respect the relationship between nature and medicine and inspire more people to do the same. Because the more we save the earth from climate change, the more we save the plants, the trees, and the forests, and the more we will save the lives of millions of people. Thank you.